country's surge in homicides are fueled by gang violence. Our Matthew Moxie has that angle tonight.
We have a gang war that's going on our street.
The streets are hot, according to Hope Center founder Dr. Carlos Reed, who says the surge of gang violence in the capital, which has claimed the lives of many in recent months, comes as gang members battle for power.
Anytime like people are let out now, we're seeing like uh, people just doing what they got to do. A lot of these persons that are killing people have lost persons close to them that have been killed. So we're seeing a lot of retaliation killings going on.
And despite the country remaining under curfew and tight restrictions, gang members, he says, are still wreaking havoc.
We got to start playing now. They can get serious because our brothers dying on the street every day, man. They are our brothers. They are our sons. They like our neighbors, our nephews. You see what I'm saying? And until we get serious about dealing this problem, man, this problem can always be evasive to us.
And if this problem isn't arrested, he says it's bad news for the community, noting that it'll take more than law enforcement to close Pandora's box.
What it do, you two? What the business is? Now, we still in the Bahamas, we ain't left yet. Now, this is the part 2 of the 3-part video that I'm touching on with the infamous, notorious gangs that come out of Nassau in the Bahamas. And we gonna spread out and touch more on other gangs and other fractions within the drug gangs and the other cartels and, things and people like that. We're gonna touch on all that. So let's get into something that they got out there. One of the deadly wars, we're gonna touch on the gang they got out there called Tiger Nation, and they deadly war with another gang called Grove Hot Boys, but they mostly go by the Hot Boys. Now, Nassau, Bahamas has an out of hand gang wars that they can't control. Nassau is one of many who too has adopted the drill music culture with dissing the dead from their enemy gangs. The murder rate has spiked higher than the hippie because of the get backs and the quickness of retaliations being took place. I touched on Crack Nation and Dirty South's deadly war, which I will be touching more on. But just keep in mind all of the names I will be speaking on because they all started off being cool and was somewhat all is one until they branched off from internal feuds. Just like Crack Nation and Dirty South, they was once cool until they broke off and started beefing from a feud that started over a cell phone within prison, and that led to numerous of them getting killed on both sides. Now, two of these gangs who have been feuding over a large turf in the Grove and Richland areas are Tiger Nation and Hot Boys. Tiger Nation is trying to gain control and take over the Hot Boys turf in the Grove. The Hot Boys aren't having that though. So numerous murders and shootings took place behind that, and they still taking place as you watch this video today. Now the police say they're firmly monitoring the areas to prevent any murders, but it's clear as day they're just not doing their job or they're scared to. Cause I mean, come on, man, let's think about it, man. It's about in Bahamas and Nassau right now. It's about 14 to 22 murders a month, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, Crack Nation, Dirty South, and Tiger Nation all came from the One Order gang, which they all branched off from. Now, keep in mind, Bahamian, it's a lot of people that are from Haiti there. It's a lot of people that are from Jamaica. A lot of other islands within the Caribbean. It's a lot of that going on right now. So a lot of the guys out there, man, they're mixed with Bahamian and Haitian. And things like that. A lot of people from Saint Lucia, a lot of people from Barbados, Turk and Caicos. A lot of islands within the Caribbean. They're all over there. But Stephen Stubbs, the notorious gang chief from Tiger Nation, was calling heavy shots and having enemies killed from prison while serving a 30-year sentence for murder and attempted murder. When the police started to investigate Tiger Nation for murders and numerous shootings, they found out who the members were. When they posted their pictures on the wall to connect the dots, they soon found out that mostly all of them had just been recently killed. And there were 22 photos on that wall. So just imagine how many of them were killed before the investigation could even take off. Now, the Grove Hot Boys were the ones who the police kept a close eye on because they said they were gaining crazy numbers on their memberships, and their structure started to become way more organized than it has ever been. Now, as the Grove gang started to expand their territory, they were getting closer to the Tiger Nation's territory, which caused 55 shootings from January 11th to January 18th. Now, 9 murders occurred in just 2 weeks. The deadliest month the Bahamas has ever seen was in March of 2022, with 22 murders in that month. All of these murders were in the Grove area. Now, gangs have been around in the Bahamas since the 1970s. And the gangs went from but hold up, no. The gangs been in the Bahamas since the 1970s, right? But the gangs went from street soldiers to enterprises within, I say, about 2013. That's when it all took off. That's when everything changed for the worse, as everybody in the Bahamas would say. It started off with just structure and just more so for the people and for their community of who that gang was for. But with 2013, it took a strong turn for the worse. So it became really from just street soldiers to really cartel type, militia type gangs. Now it's over 20,000 gang members in the Bahamas from ages 8 to 35. There were 12 murders in the first 13 days of March, which averaged a murder a day. Put it like this: if you kill one of them, they're coming back to kill you or one of you. It's just like the gangs out here in America. You know what I'm saying? It's just like gangs and all the other street stuff that involved within that street life all over the world. You kill one of them, they're gonna come back to get you. But it's a never ending cycle over there, man. Like you kill one of them, man, they coming back to kill you within 5-10 minutes after you kill one of them. That's how they pushing out there now. All these killings are retaliation killings that stemmed from one of their guys being killed the day before or the day of. Now, on February 21st, 2019, Jamal Kemp, who was only 24 years old, was gunned down by who police say was a street enforcer for the One Order gang. Now, the Bahamas is said to be the murder capital of the Caribbean. With Jamaica being the second murders high rate and Trinidad being right behind them at number 3. Now, a 24-year-old was out on bail for a 2018 murder and an attempted murder charge when he was charged with 3 more murders. Now, another ruthless gang that got their name from killing is called Mad Ass. Now, Mad Ass is a gang of youngins who make their money by robbing and breaking into homes. They also have a feud with every gang that was previously mentioned. They are also known to be very violent and are recognized by the large amount of tattoos on their body. Now that's what they're known for, and that's how they stand out. Everybody got their way of standing out and showing. One gang might have a way of standing out amongst other gangs, and that gang might stand out because they killed 70 people in a month. This gang might stand out because of the way they get money. This gang might stand out because of the way they bring the most drugs in. This gang might stand out for the robberies. This gang stands out for their tattoos. Ain't that crazy? Now, Mad Ass is not no gang to play with. They have heavy beef, heavy soldiers, heavy artillery, and they have heavy murder numbers under their belt. Them young dudes is killing. They gonna keep killing. And I promise you, by the time you hear this video, they probably done killed and killed and killed and killed and killed again, man. It's crazy out there now. Julian Heads Colley, who was a deceased former leader of the Fire and Theft gang. The Fire and Theft is a violent, dangerous, treacherous, murderous gang that lives up to its name. Now, they are well known for larceny, armed robbery, and murder. Now that's the Fire and Theft gang. And the Fire and Theft and Mad Ass, they don't like each other. They don't. That's basically their main, enemies of who they into it with. You know what I'm saying? Now, Carlos Coolbrook, aka Sculler, he is now the leader of the Fire and Theft gang. And I ain't want to put your business out there, bro, but my bad. But shout out to you, Sculler. Now they say he's even more reckless and more dangerous than anybody in Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? So Fire and Theft ain't nothing to play with, especially Sculler, So shout out to Sculler, shout out to Fire and Theft, shout out to Mad Ass, Now it's a rebellion Zoe Pound gang they got out there too. Now the gang of those Zoe Pounds that they got out there, they mostly separate themselves with the Oakland Raiders attire. You know, that's how they, I guess, will identify each other. How you will identify them with being out there. You know, like I said, there's Haitians out there as well. There's Bahamians mixed with Haitians. You know, and they push Zoe Pound out there as well. You know what I'm saying? Now, to be honest with you, Zoe Pound, they might be the oldest gang from the Bahamas or in the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? Now, it still has a few new followers. It still has a few old followers. But however, the numbers have got, you know, they lowered because all the other gangs that, you know, took over Bahamas. You know, you got to think, man, it's a young man's game, and it's a young man's game. You know, especially the gang life, especially the street life. Everything is a young man's game. You know, everything in life is gonna be a young man's game. You know what I'm saying? So of course, an old gang like Zoe Pound that was been pushing off since the 70s or the 80s or 90s, however long it's been out there in Bahamas, opposed to a new gang that's coming out, that's fresh, that's popping, that everybody's speaking on, that everybody is talking about, everybody want to be like. You know, they get money, they got the murders, they got the girls, they got the cars, they got the fear, they got the respect, they got the power, they got everything. So why would a youngin want to chase after the same thing after these old heads who ain't doing none of that, and opposed to want to run with some youngins who's his age, who's on the same thing he on? You know, it's just a lifestyle of it, man. So of course the numbers gonna dwell down within that. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's a lot of other gangs out there, you know, like the one order gangs, you know, like that's led by the notorious leader called Die. You know what I'm saying? He go by Die, you know, like DIE. That's his name, Die. And I guarantee you, if you play with him, you gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's the leader of the one order gang. Now, shout out to him. He's right now incarcerated on a murder charge. I think he got 30 something years now. That gang is known for narcotics. You know what I'm saying? They push heavy drugs. You know, they got a heavy pipeline. I ain't gonna say where it's coming from. I ain't gonna put their business out there like that, but they do armed robberies, homicides, and a whole bunch of other shootings, man. And they ain't nothing to play with either. Now, one order is considered the big dogs of the whole gang life or the whole gang structure, the whole gang tree within the whole Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these gangs that are killing each other right now, that is and has spiked the murder rate up in the Bahamas, is the main reason why is one order. You know, they all came from them, you know, but Fuse and Internal Funk have messed things up with the one order for all of them to not be together no more and branch off and start feuding and killing one another. But it's funny how all of them gangs, they'll kill each other and feud with each other and hate each other, but they'll never go against that with the one order. You know, it's probably just that respect thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like a big brother or a big homie. You know, it's like, I can't explain it. You would have to be from that to understand that. But shout out to the whole Bahamas. Shout out to the whole Nassau. Shout out to the One Order Gang. Shout out to the Dirty South Order Gang. Shout out to the Crack Nation. Shout out to the Tiger Nation. Shout out to the Grove, Richland areas. Shout out to the Hot Boys. Shout out to the Mad Ass. Shout out to everybody out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to that boy Crack Teeth. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to that boy Amal. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to all the ones out there, man, that's doing their thing in the Bahamas, man. Respect.
Services conferences. He said no effort should be spared to eradicate the emergence of gangs.
That organized gangs within our prison system are a relatively new phenomenon. Not only do gangs spur violence, but they are often central to hits being ordered on law-abiding witnesses and ordinary citizens.